Hi, this is 89U Music View. I'm Susie Albright.
And I'm Naomi Riegelson.
And we are here with Kid Creole today.
Riegelson.
Okay.
That's a cute name.
Why don't you
How
two
you spell
guys
it?
introduce yourselves?
Hi there. My name is Sugar Coated Andy Hernandez, and I've graduated from NYU back in '73 from the good old School of Public and Business Administration. And in the Kid Creole outfit, I'm known as Koti Mundi. And to my right,
To your left
to my left,
is August Darnell. Hello. How are you? How's everything? Great. I feel wonderful today.
how's your family, August?
Very good.
Thank you.
It is good to be back here at NYU.
This is your first time here
No, I used to roam the halls in search of
at Weinstein Dormitory.
wonderful things.
So, Mr. Darnell, I'll start off with you. You're present.
Why here?
Well, all right.
That's all right. No explanation.
All right.
Start with him. No problem.
Okay. You present an image of a man with 1,000 faces. Like, how many of you are there here today? Why don't you tell us about some of them?
Well, recently, I've become two separate personalities because of legalities. I'm with the Savannah Band, of course, Dr. Buzz's original Savannah Band. I am August Darnell, but because of problems that the group was having with the company, RCA and Electra, I had to divorce myself from August Darnell and create a split personality, and thus Kid Creole. So, though in my past I have had perhaps a dozen or more pseudonyms and personalities, right now there are only two. There are only two.
And does the rest of the band have split personalities as well? Any of
does.
the others?
I guess the same problem because he's also a member of Dr. Buzz's original Savannah Band. So that with Savannah Band he's known as Sugar Coated Andy, but with the Kid Creole outfit he's known as Koti Mundi.
Are any other members of the of Kid Creole and the Coconuts and Dr. Buzzards?
Only two.
Which two are those?
That's August Darnell and Sugar Coated Andy.
No others.
No one others.
The rest are automatons.
Right.
They do as they're told.
Right. They're slaves.
Good. Who
We
are
have-
some of your other old personalities that you were talking about?
Well, in high school I was Davin Fearport. But that was for dramatic purposes. When I was on the stage, I had to assume a different personality because I was in the habit of doing Shakespearean plays, and my comrades used to look down at people who, performed in that way. So rather than lose all my friends on campus, I had to assume a new personality and a different name. And a little later, I became Theodore Reenster. And that was merely for social purposes. There have been many, but I would imagine the greatest split of all would be the August Darnell Kid Creole split. Those are definitely two disparate personalities that work at odds.
That came about because of the RCA thing?
Yeah, contractual difficulties which did not allow August Darnell to do any other projects other than Savannah Band projects, so I had to change my fingerprints and various and other sundry parts of my body.
You've done other production work with other bands, haven't you?
Yes, I've enjoyed doing some production work with Machine, which is a rhythm and blues group that put out They Were For the Grace of God, Go I, last year.
Ah.
And
Which is also a Kid Creole song.
Yes, we
Why did you
actually
decide to
we
put-
did a cover on it actually because they did it rhythm and blues disco style, and we're doing it calypso style. So it's like a totally different presentation. Also did production work for James White and the Blacks, which is punk rock.
How did that come about?
Well, it was a long story, but I got turned on to James White through Mr. Michael Zilka, who was the president of Z Records. And James was recording for Michael in those days before the accident. And so they contracted me to go in and see if I could clean up some of the tracks because all the guitars were out of tune. So I went in and recut the guitars, and gave James his first gold album.
Richard James will be happy to hear that.
What else have you done? What other work have you done on Z Records?
Z, I've worked with a young lady, a beautiful young lady, by the name of Christina Monet, whose album I produced along with my comrade.
Boy, she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
What happened to her?
Well, before the accident, she performed very well, and the songs were tailor made for her. And
By you?
By myself and Sugar Coated Andy. We gave her her first. We didn't go gold yet, but it will be gold in about a couple of weeks. But we did give her her first major
start, yeah.
review in newspapers.
Yeah, she wasn't
magazines
anything
and things.
until we got to.
It was the association of the name August Darnell and Christina that made Christina something
A
worth talking
household
about. You know.
commodity.
And what song of hers went gold?
Well,
Everyone.
didn't go gold yet, but
It's on its way.
her
In a couple of
rendition
weeks.
of Peggy Lee's classic tune "Is That All There Is." I don't know if you're familiar with it,
Yeah.
but it'll be gold in I'd say 4 more weeks. Everything I touch turns gold.
There's something
No brag, just fact.
there's something interesting that you did for Christina, because her voice probably isn't the greatest voice that we
What?
ever heard in our lives. But didn't you tailor made some of her songs for her performance, more theater-like or actress-like?
Yeah. Before
How
the
did you do that?
accident, I realized that her major attribute was her theatrical reading of certain lines, and her interpretation was very dramatic. So therefore, rather than concentrate on the melodies and that strain, I concentrated on the dramatic elements and made them more or less vignettes, dramatic vignettes, rather than songs. And I think she pulled it off pretty well. Pretty well. Her next album will be even better, of course.
What is your first love, August? Is it producing or performing?
My first love, to be quite honest with you, is myself. Now, whether that takes the shape of performing or producing, it really doesn't much matter. It depends on. It changes from day to day.
Back to producing and performing. Is there a Darnell sound in the studio?
Yeah, there's a Darnell sound.
What
The
is
da-
the Darnell sound?
The
Little
Darnell,
brother.
the Darnell sound. Oh God, it's almost indescribable. It's a sound.
Sing a little bit of the Darnell.
Well, it's not so much. It's not so much the vocal trip on the Darnell sound. The Darnell sound is a sound that disregards all standard traditional formulas in the studio. If others can think of it, it won't be on the Darnell records. You see what I'm saying? The Darnell trip is a trip that disregards convention. If I have to put a definition on it, I would say it disregards convention.
What is some of the production convention that you disregard?
I disregard things like songs. Some of the rules of the trade are you have to have the bass guitar must play the dominant note of the chord. One of the standard rules that musicians will tell you. So that when I do arrangements, the bass guitar never plays the dominant note of any chord. It's always playing either the 5th or the 3rd or the 9th or the 13th or whatever, but it never plays the dominant note. Yeah. Some of the other conventions are...
But to add to that, one of the unique things about Darnell is that his bass a lot of times plays the melody of the song. If you listen to his songs when he writes them and listen to the bass, it moves like with the song, the melody, so that the bass is very important that way. Continue.
Right. Some of the other conventions are, your songs have to be under a certain length, or they shouldn't be longer than this, or they should have a... nowadays with this disco thing, when the disco craze became very popular, there were rules about how to make a disco record. Your introduction should be 2 minutes long to allow DJs to segue out of one record into another. So when I say I disregard these things, it's a sort of iconoclastic denial of these things, because I am against any sort of imposed ruling on things that are supposed to be free. Music is a freedom of expression. And once we make music into something so stringent and so formularized, then I want no part of it. See? So that's why I must have that freedom to create in the studio, to create new rules.
Well, I'm sorry. No, the other thing I was going to mention to add to that sound is like we feel that dissonance has a place in reality.
Definitely.
Like conventionally speaking, in the studios they want all the notes to resolve and everything to be in scale and in the key, etc. Come in. And then the way we do it, sometimes we'll have notes outside of the chorus or outside of the key on purpose because, let's face it, the world ain't hunky-dory. You know, there are sadness and there's death, and so the music should represent that. Sometimes things just don't get along.
That's correct.
Sometimes
Well
notes
put,
don't
Coach
get
Mundi.
along.
Well put.
Okay, you were going to ask a question before I rudely interrupted you.
Well, what I was going to ask was, did it upset you that Deputy of Love and Cherchez la Femme and There But For the Grace of God Go I by Machine, did it upset you that they were disco hits?
No, not at all, because disco, the label disco, is merely just that, a label, because so many people need to put everything into convenient niches, you know, such as ecological niches, such as, you know, the placement of human beings into categories, so that when they feel music that moves and makes them dance, they automatically said, well, this must be disco. But you know, disco's been around since the beginning of time. You know, anything that perhaps makes your feet move or puts you in the spirit of dancing. So that the fact that they were disco hits, it doesn't rub me at all in the wrong way. I think it's wonderful.
We're now going to hear a song by Kid Creole and the Coconuts.
Oh, great! Which one?
There But For the Grace of God Go I.
This is 89U Music View. We're here with Kid Creole, and that was There But For the Grace of God. Okay, you guys.
Hold it. What you say, you guys? Okay.
Okay.
You guys.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
No, dead air is a sin
Dead air is
in
a
radio.
sin.
No, you know, get that question. Remember that.
Let's get the smoke out of here.
How would you classify the music of Kid Creole and the Coconuts?
That's
hard to do.
Well, like in the New York Times, I classify it under the job section. I hope it gets upset so I can make some money.
I want you to tell us about the stage show of Kid Creole and the Coconuts. What goes on? You have a lot of cast of characters, and what happens there?
We have a cast of thousands in our stage show.
Be there.
And I want everybody here, if they never seen our stage show, they're not missing anything.
Tell us what we're not missing.
No,
Here
we
it's
have one of
fantastic.
the greatest stage shows since the Easter Spectacular in Radio City. Even better than that.
Got the Rockettes.
No, we've got the Coconuts, and we take it very seriously. Now, if you see our stage show, we're jumping around and we're dancing, and we might be acting frivolous and stupid and silly, but we pay very special attention to everything we do.
We're now going to hear a song called...
Hey, another one?
Yes, He's Not Such a Bad Guy After All.
That's
Who
our
sings
hit,
on
by the
this?
way. That's Laurie Eastside singing lead on that, and that I predict that'll be gold in 2 weeks.
We're back, and that song was called "He's Not Such a Bad Guy After All."
On
That was
Z
great.
Antilles.
That was sensational.
Yeah, the singer's on Z Antilles label, and the album, when it comes out, is going to be on the Darnell Hernandez label with Z Records.
We broke a lot of rules when we did that record, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What did you do this time?
Well, the vocal, we laid the vocal on a quarter track flat to the entire record to give it that 1950s Cherelle sound. And so what we did was we VFO'd the machine down and had the Laurie Eastside sing to just the drums.
Right.
And then she never heard the music. The one time she heard the music was when the record was pressed.
That's neat.
It's
It
incredible.
was very interesting. It was,
Yeah, we'll never do it
expensive,
again, but
it was interesting.
What is before the accident that you keep referring to?
oh God, do we have to talk about the accident?
Well, I was trying to put it off, but it seemed inevitable.
The accident was what happened to the Savannah Band and all its members when we went out to California last year, because we had just gotten our gold record with well, this was a year and a half ago with Cherchez la Femme, and everybody went sort of crazy. You know, we all bought homes in California and bought automobiles, convertibles, and all. So when I refer to the accident, I refer to that time in our lives where we were very given to frivolity and senseless spending of money.
Right, when we were very rich.
Yeah.
Then the crash.
And we blew it all. In
Now we're
a
both
year's
just
time.
two poor heathens.
It'll never happen again.
It'll never happen again. You're exactly right.
We'll
We've learned
never
our lesson.
spend money that way again.
That's what I mean. Do you see anything in the future for the Coconuts? What's to come?
What's to come? Gee, there's a lot of things in the future. We're like, hopefully,
our music will be accepted because we are creating a new market. It's not like, the music is disco, it's this, or it's that. So hopefully we'll create a new market. And if we do create a new market, it can be very big, and just about anything can be in the wings for us. All medias, from movies to Broadway shows to almost anything. So hopefully that's what'll happen. The music will get accepted. It seems like nowadays the minds are opening up, so they're listening to more and more different types of music. So that's what we're banking on, that people will be into music.
Yeah, my future, as I see it now, is I have a goal of achieving 25 gold albums, and then getting out of the music industry altogether and moving on to my childhood love, which was the theater and the cinema. So we have 13 gold albums now, and so we want to achieve 25, just to say we achieved 25, and then I'm quitting.
You plan to do any video work so that everyone can see your theater?
I hate video.
Yeah, we think video is just a fad. We think it's gonna be it's gonna be here today and gone today.
But we're going to do a video very shortly.
We have to do it because due to political pressures above, we're going to do a video.
Michael Zucker wants to spend money.
Right. No, seriously, we have a great video show. Everybody says that video is our media because it's just a great vision when you see it live. Really, we have such a great show. I don't want to brag, but this business you have to brag because else people want to spend their money. We're competing against everything with the depression now. Everybody they decide, well, I'm going to spend $1 on a record, on drugs, on women, on my rent, on my children. Usually children are last. Whatever. So we have to brag and say, hey, spend the money on us. Not that we make anything. We're poor.
The group is also going to be doing some work around town this summer. Oh. Yeah, we're going to be playing around at places like Tracks and Heat and nefarious joints like that.
August Darnell, I want to ask you: are you still doing production work, or do the Oral Exciters still exist?
Yeah, the Oral Exciters still exist. As a matter of fact, they're playing in Europe now with James White. They're on the same bill as James White in Europe, and they're doing all right. They're going to start another album. They have the #1 album in Australia, of all places. As a matter of fact, Oral Exciters is top of the charts in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Good album.
It's wonderful.
It's the best thing that's ever happened.
Okay. I guess that about wraps it up. We've been talking to Kid Creole and Kid Creole and Sugar Coated.
No.
Oh no, Coty Mundi. I'm sorry. Okay, there's so many of them here. It's getting so crowded in here.
And Coty Mundi and Kid Creole.
Right. Okay. Thank you. We finally cleared that up, I hope. But I want to thank you guys for coming.
I want to thank you for having us here, because the more people we can reach, the greater our brainwashing process is.
Right.
We love to be brainwashed here.
Estoy agradecido por estar aquí. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Aviento.
Aviento y te veo.
For 89U Music View, I'm Susie Albright.
And I'm Naomi Riegelson.
That's a lie.
Our producer was Tammy Gershoni, and our engineer is Greg All.